Hey guys, Script here with another video for you, and this is from the direct. Star Wars boss Kathleen Kennedy is not a woke warrior at Disney report. Okay. Well, this is interesting actually because I think a lot of people assume that she's at the head of this sort of whatever you want to call woke situation, but many people have also suspected it's people above her. The only thing I will say about this whole, whatever woke thing is she does seem to like to put in the brunette female lead, which feels like a self-insert because she does it a lot. But Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy took plenty of backlash from much of the Star Wars fan base due to her advocacy for diversity, but she not be the woke warrior some believe her to be at Disney. I know she hired a lot of women. There was a big article, I don't remember if it was The Atlantic or Variety, but there's just a whole pile of women. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as they're qualified and they're, running things properly. But when you look at the amount of canceled projects and all the issues they're having, I'm not sure they really are. But that doesn't have anything to do with them being women. It's just having to do with them being incompetent. There are plenty of women that are competent. I suspect she hired a lot of them because they're friends of hers, not because they're necessarily competent, but that's just my opinion. After Daisy Ridley was cast as the lead in Star Wars sequel Trilogy, the brunette self-insert, and other female actresses like Rosario Dawson and Natasha Liu Bordizzo played prominent roles on Disney+, some fans claim that Kennedy was pushing a political agenda. I don't think it's a political agenda. Rosario Dawson was playing a character that had been in existence for a really long time in Clone Wars and stuff, so I don't see that as a big deal. She was a pretty major character in Clone Wars and was a female, so I don't see how that's anything, but whatever. I think it's actually... I thought Daisy Ridley was actually a good cast choice. I think having a female lead in Star Wars was actually kind of cool. They just wrote a really crappy character. The whole idea that it's woke, it's not woke to have a female lead. What I think is woke is having a female lead and then instead of having her have a real character arc, just making her so overpowered that it's boring. That's the woke part. We're not just going to have a female. We're going to make her the most powerful Jedi in the history of the world, who never has any problems and doesn't even have to train. That's the problem. The popular adult animated series South Park even released a special that featured Kennedy in a satirical manner as the face of the woke community at Disney, claiming she only makes decisions to pander. I don't, honestly, it's the executives that are the problem, in my opinion. She's incompetent. I think she's run Lucasfilm into the ground, but I don't think it's because of woke so much as, I think that's coming from above. I could be wrong, but the upcoming Disney Plus series, The Acolyte, has also been subject to this same criticism due to its featuring a female writer, director, and showrunner. No, not from my perspective. If any of you have watched my videos, it has nothing to do with her being female. It has to do with her being, first of all, Harvey Weinstein's assistant, who would have known everything that was going on and never reported it. And two, she doesn't have any background in this genre. She's doing sex related stuff in her entire career, and then now she's doing a Star Wars show. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. Why don't you hire Bryce Howard? She would probably be great. And she's got her dad to lean on for if she has any questions. Why are you hiring somebody who's doing shows about sex all the time? And putting much of its focus on female characters. Again, no one cares. They just don't want them to suck. You're writing them so garbage. That's why everyone hates them. According to Matthew Baloney via his The Town podcast, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy is accurately portrayed by some fans as being the face of diversity at Disney. Isn't accurately being portrayed. Some go so far as to call Kennedy woke, but Baloney, I like the name Baloney, revealed that these claims aren't accurate. He specifically stated that she's not known as the woke warrior at the company and frequently even has to be convinced to include a lot of diverse elements. Okay. But Kathleen Kennedy is not. The whole South Park thing it was funny, but it wasn't accurate. Within Disney, she's not known as the woke warrior. She kind of has to be convinced from everything I've been told. She has to be kind of convinced to do this stuff. Well, my question isn't whether or not she has to be convinced. My question is who is trying to convince her, number one. And number two, she is being convinced. So if she's being convinced, she still represents whatever it is she's trying to be convinced of, which if it's woke or whatever, right? So she's still at the end of the day the head of the company. If she's allowing it or being convinced of it, then she still is sort of that, right? Because she's still doing it. Baloney also pointed out that there's still never been a female director of a Star Wars movie and that he personally believes she has not gone overboard on the diversity stuff. I disagree. Again, it's not about the fact that Shinoy is a female that's directing the Rey movie. It's that she has no background or acumen in the genre. Nothing. There are many other people you could have chosen that are females that would have been far more able to do this movie. She's a documentary filmmaker. Like, that's literally all she's ever done. And she's good at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's not about her being a female. Are there actually, like, can you guys, like, post or link to me people on YouTube or Twitter or whatever that literally just say it's bad that she's female? Like, I don't know who these people are that are saying that. The only guys that I know of are saying, why did you pick not just a female, but the reason they're saying female is because it feels like she just picked her because she's a woman. Because she doesn't have a background in the genre. It feels like she just picked Leslie Headland, because she's a woman. Even though she doesn't have any background that would suggest she would be good at this. That's, I think, where they're coming from when they say woman. I could be wrong. If you guys know of people that are just like, we don't want any women involved in Star Wars and we hate women, I would love a link to their video or their site, and I would love to comment back to them and say that that's dumb. But it just feels like because she's not picking women that have an acumen in the genre that you would feel good about, it just feels like she's picking them just because they're women. I think that's the general consensus. Which it does, because there's plenty of women that would be capable of doing this stuff. But she picks people that have no background in it. And there's still never been a female director of a Star Wars movie. I'm very critical of Kathleen Kennedy, but I don't think she's gone overboard on the diversity stuff. There's still never been. Well, there is. She's slated to do the Rey movie. As previously mentioned, some fans believe that the modern state of Star Wars has been dominated by female actors and executives just for the sake of diversity. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just seems like she's just picking them because, not because they're actually qualified. Well, there have been a lot more females in executive roles, and as lead actors recently, those claims can easily be disputed and entirely brushed off. I disagree. It is just for the sake of diversity if you're just picking them simply because they are, quote, diverse and not capable. No one cares if it's a female director. They care if she's capable and does a good job. That's what we care about. But when you have actors and directors coming out saying that, this isn't for you, white men, or we made sure to make our show diverse instead of talking about how good it is and how you're writing good Star Wars, and instead you're focusing on whether or not it's diverse. That's the problem. Like, sorry, we aren't just making this up. This isn't just coming out of the ether. This is real. Take the sequel trilogy, for example. Yes, Daisy Ridley headlined the 3 films that came out between 15 and 19. However, male actors such as Isaac and Boyega also had major roles as a driver. Well, Boyega was sidelined, and he said so himself. Screen time, it's not even close. It is also important to note that the 2 directors who brought the sequels to life are both men. Yeah, but we don't like them. The same guys like me that are saying you just seem to be picking them simply for diversity, not because they're on merit, think that those movies suck and that J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson did a horrible job. It has nothing to do with them being men or women. They did a crappy job. The Ahsoka show sucks because it's sloppy and done poorly, not because of Rosario Dawson. If anything, she was really perfect for the role. Nobody cares about that. No one cares. The Kenobi show sucks. Guess who's the lead actor? A guy who plays Kenobi. The show's awful. It has nothing to do with their body parts or whether or not they're men or women or gay or whatever. Nobody cares. We just want good Star Wars. We don't care about this stuff. When looking at the Star Wars shows that have been released on Disney Plus, the same can be said. Rosario Dawson was the focus of the Ahsoka series, and Bordizzo had a major role as Sabine Wren, but other projects such as The Mandalorian and or Book of Boba Fett, nobody can involve it. Yeah, and no one cared. All those shows suck. I've reviewed them. They suck. They're crappy shows. It has nothing to do with men or women. Bordizzo, Sabine is just the most ridiculous character ever in the show. She puts everyone's lives at risk, the whole galaxy at risk, just to save her boy toy. Like, really? And then she gets stabbed and doesn't die, and she's using the Force now without ever training. She's literally doing like a 150-foot Force push of a human being in the air without any training and without even knowing what it is. That's why we don't like it. It has nothing to do with her being a female. Nobody cares. Just write her better. Stop writing females that are so powerful that nothing ever happens to them and they're boring. How about you write them like normal characters that go through stuff and that are interesting, not just planks of wood. A lot of fans are also pointing out how The Acolyte will be directed and written by Leslie Headland, claiming that she only got the role because Kathleen Kennedy is striving. No, she got the role because she's friends with Kathleen Kennedy. And she's a female, yes. She has no background in it. She was Harvey Weinstein's assistant. So she knew everything that was going on and never reported anything for decades. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's not because she's a female, it's because she writes sex shows. Why would you pick somebody like that to do Star Wars? show. It doesn't make sense. Aside from Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is directed by Chow, no other Star Wars project has been wholly directed and or written by a female, making these claims completely baseless. In short, it appears as though Kathleen Kennedy doesn't put as much focus on her hiring females for the sake of diversity as much as some fans want to believe. But again, we believe that because she's not picking people based on merit. You have a vagina? Oh, here's a Star Wars show. You have no background in anything to do with this genre? Here's a Star Wars show because vagina. That's what it feels like to us. If she picked people that had a background in it and were female, no one would care. I swear to you. If they hire Bryce Dallas Howard to direct a Star Wars show, you will hear crickets. Because people will be like, well, she has a background in a lot of this type of stuff. She's directed some stuff. She's been in some action-packed movies. You know, her dad's been involved in Star Wars. That's a good choice. I guarantee you, no one will say a single solitary word about it. No one will care. But they don't. She picks her friends just because they're female. Anyway, so that's all I have to say about this. I don't even think Kathleen Kennedy is woke in the sense that she cares a lot about this stuff. I think she is doing the bidding of Disney. And Disney is running itself into the ground, and yet the shareholders still kept all the same people running it. She's still running Lucasfilm, which is run into the ground. We now know because of the Forbes investigation that Star Wars has made zero money since they bought it in 10 years, that's a joke. It doesn't really matter. Until all these people are replaced, nothing matters. And even if they are woke, again, I say it, no one cares. We just want competency. I just wanted Kathleen Kennedy to be competent. And I thought she was. I really did. And I've done videos in the past. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know this. Where I've talked about how she at one time in her life was clearly very good with logistics. When she was executive producing for Lucas or for Spielberg or for these guys, she was involved in very successful projects. She clearly knew how to get them what they needed for the creative process on budget and on time and all of those things that are involved with executive producing. So she was clearly an organized, logistical, smart person. She wasn't a creative. I don't know how much she's been involved with the creative since she took over Lucasfilm, but it's been poor. And she hasn't hired good, capable people. She's hired people that suck at their jobs. And she hasn't put the hammer down. Like, she let Rian Johnson do whatever he wanted and run Luke Skywalker and the Star Wars Skywalker saga into the ground, essentially. That movie is really what killed it. Force Awakens sucked, but Last Jedi destroyed it for fans. And she let that happen. And so I don't know if just this is too much power for her, because, again, she was a pretty good executive producer. Let's face facts, folks. She was in on some huge movies and did a very good job. So I don't understand what happened to her, or if this is just too much for her. And you think of all the projects, she's constantly announcing projects and then canceling projects and changing this and changing that. That doesn't seem like an organized person to me. So I don't know if this is just too much for her, or if she's just following orders from above and the people above her are really the more woke ones and they're just idiots. Clearly they are, and they're all still there, and they all got voted back in again by the idiot shareholders and George Lucas himself. I don't know how woke she is. I just want her to hire competent people. Don't you guys? Isn't that really what this is about? We just want competency and good stuff and not garbage. And we don't want modern politics in Star Wars. You know, we just don't. And you don't have to do that. Like, no one's asking you to do that. So so whatever. If it's not Kennedy, if she's being convinced by other people, my question is, who are these people? And like I said earlier, she has been convinced clearly because she's going along with what they want. And at the end of the day, she's the one that runs Lucasfilm. And the board, of course, of Disney runs her. So ultimately, they are responsible. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Are you just looking for good stories? Like, do you even care about this crap? What do you think about her choice picking Headland and Shinoy? Like, if you look at their filmographies and stuff, does it make any sense for them to be doing Star Wars? Like, really? Does it? Do you think it does? Let me know in the comment section what you think. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, as usual. If you could like and subscribe, that would really help the channel a lot. Thank you so much for your guys' support thus far. And check out anything else on my channel if you would like, and have yourselves a really good day.